And so you'll spend the timekeeper, one person will present, you ask some questions, you think about it a little bit. The next person will present, you have some questions, think about it a little bit. You have some questions, present, think about it a little bit. And so that will take up the first hour, and then you have a half an hour to do whatever you want to do in that group in terms of your conversation. And so 4 people present for 15 minutes.
15 minutes, Steve?
Yeah.
Yes, but you're not presenting for 15 minutes. You're presenting very briefly and then asking questions of the group.
Okay.
Yeah. Like you say, I'm not sure how to do this. Do you have some thoughts about how I might do this? That's just the kind of question. And so I have this idea. Do you have some ideas about how I might do this? And so you have that chance to ask that question of the group within your domain. And then for 30 minutes, you're just free. It's like open space. You're free to converse on whatever you wish. We'll come back here at around an hour and a half is, we'll come back here at 11:45. So you essentially have that, and you can spread out however you wish. And so, okay, the education folks, the 2 folks, raise your hand. Okay, 3 go, and 3 go, and just find a space somewhere and go. Okay?
Follow the lead.
Follow the leader.
They're getting the jacuzzi, I think.
Yeah. They get the soft chairs out there if they want them. Okay, the energy group. 2 people raise their hand in energy.
No.
1. Oh, we have just 1 group in energy. Yeah, your group. Energy folks. Yes. Naomi, you will need to be with one of the education groups out there, please, in the other room, if that's what you wish. Okay, energy folks, you're a group. Just find yourselves and find a space. Biodiversity, you 4 raise your hand. You're a group. Just find a space. Social entrepreneurship, all y'all raise your hand. You're a group. It makes sense just to meet over there. Advocacy, who are the 4 advocates? You find yourselves. Recycling and food gardening, that's 1 group. Find yourselves. Raise your hand. And everybody else is sitting down. Just divide yourselves into 3 groups. Everybody else, I think, should be in this group.
Church structure?
Yeah. So find groups of 4.
Church structures, church ideas.
And they come in. Where do you find it?
So Naomi,
especially it's 50-50 on them.
So I get to own the truck. That's what she's saying. That's what she's saying.
I think that's just fine. To own a depreciating asset full of old food, I'd love to
We're not
have
going
you
to
be
keep
the
the
one.
old food. Okay.
Well, that's what it'll be at the end of the day. No, I'm just kidding. No.
He knows who's boss.
Pat was going to be next in our group, but do you have
something to
a
share?
concept of what you want to share into social entrepreneurship?
Or whatever you're working on.
You want to sandbag and come in after Pat?
Well, right now I'm just still floating because I do it daily almost. This is my life now. The thing is how to get really more of my scientists and the faith-based communities to start involved some because they have the science, and then how to help them really, plug them in wherever needed. So that's what I'm trying to sort. I've met some people where they have their projects. If I can get my colleagues or the scientists to help them so that we can create the policy, the advocacy, or whatever they need to raise the money or create the groups like what Dottie did, I'm very happy to do that. It's really my specialty, making things grow. Yeah. I mean, I still have, I used to work for the women's division. I still have about 5, 6 projects that are 20 years old and still existing today.
Women's division off because I'm not in the Methodist
So
organization.
it's the former United Methodist Movement.
Okay.
So it's possible. Because you don't want it just to be small, you want it to grow, right?
Right. That's, speaking of growing, that would be a good introduction to Pat.
So my story may sound like it belongs in the gardening group, wherever it is. It kind of does, but Dave's and mine work together. Part of my idea is to work with churches to learn how to do ministry in green space. It may look like a garden. It may look like any number of things. But the idea, the model that I've seen, uses arable land attached to a church to allow people in the church that need that kind of therapy to do gardening, but then they also get together and they talk about things. It's a comfortable space, or there's part of it is a comfortable space where they can sit in the shade and talk. And they could do, I don't know what they actually do all the time because I haven't spent a whole year there, but they could do Bible studies or...
This is social entrepreneurship, right?
Yes.
It is actually, yeah.
I said that intentionally so I would remember when I go
right.
through all
Yes,
these.
it is.
Because I'm going to
Yeah.
float around.
And we're talking with Pat Trask about
Yeah.
using green space.
Yeah.
Pat?
But they also
I'll be back around.
And there is a, it's called, one of the churches in a nearby community has a, it's called the Thursday meal. And we could donate the honey to that or to the local food shelf as well. Provide it.
And raise money for your garden, for the upkeep.
Well, we do that with the vegetables, so that is definitely a possibility. So, but most of it goes to the food shelf for the congregation members. So the food is much appreciated by many people throughout the communities. So yeah, we can do a number of things with them, but definitely to harvest it. That's one of the key goals of this. So
See, the spinners are expensive. The honey spinner
Yeah.
is like $1,500. When you get there to that point, but maybe you could find one used.
yeah. Well, and that's part of what I really wanted the grant for.
You've got a retired beekeeper.
Yeah, so he might
You might
have something
one.
like
Or-
that.
Or
Yeah.
you could maybe rent them for the night or something depending on.
Maybe he's the one who will train other people.
Yeah.
So that's a conversation, one of those conversations we need to have. But all 3 churches, we're within really small communities. So the people that we utilize, he was talking about exploring, different people for all these things. It's not going to be like that for us. It's going to be these same people that are create the vision and the expertise and the work. So they're technically going to be the worker bees of it too.
Which group is this? I'm floating around, so I wanted to make sure I say something.
Food and gardening.
Home and gardening. Okay, thank you.
Food and gardening.
Food and gardening.
Yeah.
Right. That was a habit.
So, yep, but yeah, that's, hopefully with that grant money, we could buy our own.
So you said that like a pollinating garden, so like you said bees and then kind of plants for the...
Wildflowers like butterflies. Butterflies are great pollinators too, so.
They do a workshop for my teachers and their families to come at Narrow Ridge, and then I'm involved with some hiking and other groups, hiking and packing groups, and Sierra Club and some social groups, and try to get some retreats to them. But the main thing is to the school, so I probably ought to focus for this on the school, so I'm not so out there. So that's mine.
Which group is this?
Education.
Okay. I have to say that.
Yeah.
I have to say the title somewhere in the clip because I'm floating.
Okay.
Here, so.
So should we all just kind of present what?
Well, he wanted us to talk about each of us for 15 minutes. So.
Do you have any questions for us?
Yeah.
Just to ask questions?
Yeah, what you want?
Clarify. I just want to be clarified. So, are you going to provide a recycling, like, for example, non-recyclable, recyclable, that kind of segregating material in your school itself? So,
We're already doing that.
you have already.
The kids made little signs with pictures on them as well as words. So there's one that says paper only, and it's a picture of paper, and it says paper only, and they've got one for compost, and it's got a picture of that.
And how do they do it? What's your evaluation of what you've been doing for the past? Was it successful? Do you see that they've been really doing it?
For the most part, no. Every time I'm the one that takes it to the next town to recycle, and I'm forever pulling some trash out of it. But for the most part, it's mostly good, but I'm always going back.
Anyway, so I'm wondering what you just described is if I wanted to do it in Haywood County, Tennessee, you said you will adapt it, but...
No, I will work with you to adapt it based on your...
So my thought is, that is a very labor-intensive undertaking for you. So do you see this progressing? I mean, how are you going to do that in a sustainable way? Because you, one person, cannot...
I can't be a full-time curriculum writer.
No, you can't cater to every...
So the dream would be that there becomes eventually a team of people who are trained in kind of this teaching method. Like you get trained in project learning tree, you get trained in, godly play, those sort of things. That people begin to get trained in that, and then they will begin to write their own things and share that with others. So it's kind of this snowballing effect of this movement of...
And it would be housed or based through...
a website of some kind. I have my own personal website right now, so...
Okay, so you will be becoming the entity. You're not thinking about trying to do it through Methodist publishing houses, or at one point, I was thinking, you and I thought so much alike, and when I was working like with National Wildlife Federation, trying to do it through them, or Environmental Education Network, or Children in Nature Network. I mean, each of those people, I sort of put something out there to them. And also Project Learning Tree, CEF. So it occurs to me that you might want to, I mean, this can go,
You talked about something in
large scale, right?
Earthkeepers itself.
Yes, I would be more willing to do it through Earthkeepers than I would be at the Methodist Publishing House, simply because the Methodist Publishing House is very limited in what they do and how they advertise, and also that if you write for the Methodist Publishing House, you don't own the curriculum.
So maybe in relationship, they would be one of your partners, perhaps.
They might be
in terms of the editor or distributor,
or those sort of things.
Okay.
So what kind of community, or maybe whatever your community is, which may be, this part of the country.
We are the world.
Right, exactly.
The world is
so what sort of community involvement or connections do you need to seek to make it work?
Well, first, partnerships with the churches that I'll be working with. I've already made contact with the person who's the West North Carolina Conference. He's just started the Green Team kind of thing. Jonathan, the other Jonathan here did that. Excuse me. So those sort of partnerships, and with people who are interested in brainstorming and testing and pushing back and helping me evaluate the curriculum that I'm writing in their own context.
Community, what am I trying to say? The community system that's operating there in terms of Methodist churches and other churches and businesses.
Yes, so our church is 6.8 miles from Cove Point. There's got to be a couple others. Mount Olivet's got to be closer to, and St. Paul's have got to be closer. So there's got to be a couple other churches, Methodist churches, who are very close, even closer than us. I think so. Some of this would be talking with those congregations to see. They've clearly got to know the Cove Point's going in, but sort of take their temperature on the issue, on fracking in general and the Cove Point project in particular. Our church is a member of the Solomon's Business Association, and one of the things, so is Dominion. So that's the power company, and because they want to be good neighbors, right? And one of the things that is always an agenda item on the business association meetings, at the business association meetings, is the times that the heavy trawling and heavy lifting will be going on at Dominion. So, right, so they've already worked it into, right, this is, we know we're disrupting your lives, we know we're, right, how can we, right, so this is already part of it. And when I first got there, one of the first, we have a Thursday evening community meal we do with a couple of the other churches. Dominion had just given, the churches had applied for a grant to Dominion to fund this ministry, and they had asked for a couple $1,000s to do it, and Dominion came back and gave them $10,000. And everyone's like, "Whoa, this is great! We only asked for 2, they gave us 10." I was like, "No, this is greenwashing. They just bought you for $10,000."
Stop frack gas exports at Cove Point and beyond.
So there's that, right? And some of the members of the congregation are also Dominion employees, right? And so there's obviously gonna be a lot of layers to this. There is a local group, the Calvert County Community for Healthy Communities or something like that. So I was doing some research with that about them last night. So, right, I need to figure out sort of who the players are in this, because you're right, I am new to the area.
We are Cove Point.
We are Cove Point is one of them, right? So, right, this is where Mike knows. This is really great. Mike could be a resource for me, and Mike has been in this conversation much longer than I have, and that we're also in the same cohort together. So Mike can be a great resource for me.
What group is this?
Advocacy.
Okay. I have to say that somewhere in my clip, so because I'm floating around. So.
Yes. Yes.
What is your goal? Like, what would success look like?
No, that's an excellent question, right? Because being new to this, right, and my crazy activist self, right, my goal would have been to have shut down the project, right? We're already past that point, right? So the project's already going in. There are some legal challenges that are happening. I was reading about that, so I need to get up to speed on what those legal challenges are and where they are. But stuff's already getting built, right? Right, stuff's already been built.
And there does seem to be a dearth of that.
And then bring them like who holds the soil in place and replenishes and rebuilds the soil. It improves the health in the community, and so they would learn all of that. So basically, in a way, they're telling them rather than me telling adults, because adults don't like to be told so much. If the kids can do that. And then I'd like to have a little ritual, so it's not just going out and digging a hole. I'd like it to be kind of fun, where maybe the kids draw pictures and they hang them on the trees. You know, make it a little sort of, just make a friend with the tree, you know? Maybe they make a name for the tree, I don't know. You know, this tree's named Martha, and she's my friend. And then you have to, I'd see a check-in, so they keep watering the tree. We don't want the tree just planted. We want to see 6 months from now it's still alive. So how to do that and how to celebrate that, you know. The potluck idea he was talking about. So how do we get the community to sort of come together then and say, wow, we did this. We planted 500 trees and, you know, 450 of them are still living, and let's celebrate that.
What group is this? Okay. Had to say that somewhere in here because I'm getting several clips from all the different groups.
So that's kind of then designing is figuring out then exactly where to put the trees, what specific trees, who's going to plant them, where am I going to get them. A specific design for a ritual. Could we have the youth in the church design this little ritual? I don't want it to be too religious because I want it to reach out to the bigger community. So I see kids maybe just planting pictures of a tree and burying the picture with the tree or hanging it on the tree. Or, you know, I don't know. But just to have joy.
Braddock Street.
There's an existing program to certify, lay servanthood and get people involved in church leadership. And what we would do is say that one of those ways of doing that is through environmental stewardship, of which the entry course would be, in my estimation, Earthkeepers. This program that we've done this week so far is at least as intensive as any of the other advanced courses, because those only require 10 hours of activity. So the idea would be to define, and when we were talking the other night, the idea is also that maybe we actually get some of the church boards working together. I mean, discipleship ministers kind of the process, but Global Ministries has the specific target course, and hopefully we can get involvement even from church and society. Anyhow.
So have you got somebody at that executive level with board of laity that buy into this? And,
so far, only at my conference. Okay. Actually, I should. My district, I have a DS and an associate DS who runs our lay servant program. The associate, they both were very. In fact, we kind of got talking, and they said, one method that we might be able to do this is do that. I've since talked to our conference level person who certifies the courses. She has information now on the course, and we both agreed, until we actually had taken the course once and seen what it was a little hard to figure out that this might be one. But apparently for the advanced courses, the conference can actually certify some courses that are maybe not denomination-wide.
Right.
In other words, each conference can,
we've got like a second level of training.
And so, they can, because sometimes there's local needs, there's things that they want to do. So my first step was to try to see if I couldn't convince my conference to do this. But then work through them to, the next step would be to work with the folks and in fact...
When is your conference going to be?
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, I'm using conference, right now I'm using conference to mean the organizational structure of West Ohio. The other conference I've talked about is going to be in April, and we're going to invite everybody.
But you have enough time to April to figure out something to present as format in your conference?
Yes, yeah. And actually we were hoping to use the conference as a chance to present this idea to people that, by then hopefully it would be actually maybe not totally nailed down, but at least an idea that we could apply. Our idea is to piggyback. You're going to talk about Earthkeepers, and I was going to talk about the possibility, if it gets to a point where we can do that at this time.
Yeah. You have your minutes extra.
I know. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, who's next?
We might be able to schedule it in tomorrow.
United Methodist Church.
Yeah, I think we have some time in the afternoon.
And then the other being
give them all a chance to do that. We'll do that.
Okay, everybody, let's get together. We need to help out our Philistines. Get in the band. He's just
Sorry to run really quickly, but the international folks are heading off after lunch, so we wanted to go through this exercise really quickly. The one, not quickly, but we want to get it done before lunch so they can participate in it. And the other thing is, please allow our guests from overseas to eat first so they can get on the van with Patrick by 12:45. So I'm going to start